make a difference. So let's talk about attachment. When you see this picture of this father snuggling up his cute little baby, I want you to pay attention to the reactions you have inside. See what comes up for you as you're looking at this. Every one of us is born with a need to be securely connected to someone else. People of religious traditions and faith understand that we have an attachment and a bond with God and with Jesus Christ. The hymn we sang at the beginning of this meeting, if you look back at that, it's hymn number 98 in the LDS hymn book here. If you look through there, there's a tremendous amount of attachment language in there. I need thee every hour. Stay with me, stay nearby. The tender voice offers peace. These are attachment themes. And so we are hardwired to seek out a bond with God. And just like Sarah said, that was what anchored her in her own recovery. She discovered a tremendous resource in this relationship with God. This is the primary attachment for all of us. I believe there is no recovery without spirituality, without a connection with God. And without that anchor, it's impossible to do good recovery work. It's impossible to trust other people. And so we have to have that in place. As one LDS church leader, Neil A. Maxwell, said, the only safe submission is to God. Right? Humans just aren't that safe sometimes. But we still do it because we're hardwired to do it. But God is the one we should start with. And then as babies, if you look over at this next picture in the middle, when we're born, right out of the womb, they're placing the baby on the skin of the mother. We hold and rock and comfort our babies. We sing to them, talk with them. We don't leave them alone. We know that babies will do better and they will thrive just by physical touch and presence, pre-verbally. They don't even have to be told, you're special and you're wonderful. They just need to be touched and held and comforted. And it's regulatory, right? We are not designed to self-regulate. We are designed to co-regulate. We are born as social creatures. And we only go into distress when we're cut off from that social connection. And so attachment is part of who we are. So we know that children, when they're neglected and abandoned, suffer tremendously because they lose that ability to regulate their emotions and lose that ability to even regulate physically. But attachment isn't just for babies, it's for adults too. And so we have a lifelong need from cradle to grave to seek secure attachment. And like it says in the Bible, Adam and Eve were commanded to leave their primary attachment and to cleave to each other, which is adult attachment. Primary attachment resides in bonding with mom and dad, parents, secure figures. And then we leave that secure bond for another secure bond, which is a romantic partner, committed relationship, marriage. And the interesting thing about primary attachment is that there really only is about one person on the earth that we have this primary attachment with. I might feel close to my siblings or to my friends or my neighbors, but my survival in terms of that life or death reflex we have to be connected to somebody doesn't reside in anybody else but the primary attachment figure. So a child who can't get to their parent goes into a life or death, fight or flight kind of reaction, and physiologically the breathing changes, the heart rate, everything changes because they can't get to that person. Are you there for me? Can you see me? Do you care how I feel? That's what attachment's about. And then we take that and we transfer it to our adult relationships. And that's why love as an adult can feel so desperate and so life and death and so fragile and so scary and so vulnerable, because we're dealing with this primary attachment. As we talk about secure attachment, there's all kinds of ways that primary attachment shows up in our relationships. You see the parents and the children, romantic partners, couples that are older, What we know from the research on secure attachment is that when we're securely attached, we have increased confidence, we have less depression and anxiety, we have less aggression, we're less susceptible to shock, stress, and pain, we're more flexible, we're more curious, we take more risks, we have better self-awareness and other awareness, we problem solve better, and we actually have better physical health. And this is all from having secure attachment. Jim Cohen did some research at the University of Virginia where he had women in an MRI machine, and he was scanning their brains, and then he had a little device set up that would shock their foot. Now, I don't know who signs up for these experiments, but the money must be pretty good. So Dr. Cohen would throw up a little panel, a red light would come on, and the red light meant that there was a chance this subject would get shocked in the foot. And so it introduced the element of uncertainty. And so here's what he did. He had 3 groups. He had one group of women that held the hand of that didn't hold the hand of anybody, that were in there by themselves. And he measured their brains and their reactions to the stress of not knowing if they would get shocked or not. Then he had a second group who held the hand of a stranger and then put them through the same protocol. And then the third group held the hand of their husband. And then he also had these couples take marriage assessments so he could rate how good their marriages were. And what he found was that the women who didn't hold the hand of anybody, they reported that the stress was severe of not knowing. The stranger, it went down significantly. And with the husband, they said it was barely noticeable. But if they had a bad marriage, they said the stress was about the same as a stranger. And so we know that being in the arms or being connected physically and having the presence of someone that we're bonded to regulates us. It changes us. It soothes us. It calms us. We're just wired that way.